Now, I'm not going to comment first on this one. I want you to comment first on this one because, I got a mouthful to say about this one. Want me to put it back up? Here, let me put it back up. There we go. Look at that. What? Now, I'm sure there were other things. It was a pretty meaty chapter. There may have been other things you pulled out of that chapter, but this is what I pulled out of that chapter. So, what did you pull out of this chapter?
Well, what I pulled out of this chapter, namely, was the way young men talk about the things that they're dealing with. Because those things, especially when they're talking to their moms, that can come out as hurtful or disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and like, we don't mean to come out as disrespectful or rude or anything like that. It's just, we don't know how to word it in a way that makes it seem like to get what we're really dealing with across in a respectful manner, because it's just, there's so much of it that it just comes out.
Okay.
So,
okay.
That's just one
thing. So one of the things that you're seeing is that you've got to learn some skills, and he equips you with some skills later in the book, right? Like, we're not giving away the whole book, right? You need to go out and get the book, but there's some equipping that happens in this book, right? Okay, some equipping that happens in this book. Well, I'll tell you what, when I read that, I was like, oh, this man knows my mother's heart, because one of the problems that I have is feeling like all my girlfriends are pushing their kids so hard. All my girlfriends are getting, all these hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships for their kids, and their kids are doing these great things. And I've got the child who is a young man, not a child anymore. I got to stop saying that. But I've got the one who's like, football, trumpet, and video games, and I'm good. And so I have really, when I read this, it really resonated with me, because for me, it was like all my hard work, like I was taking it real personal that he didn't seem to be more ambitious, because I worked so hard to give him a better life. I sacrificed so much to send him to a private school when Louisiana wouldn't test him for honors, even though he was one of 6 kids in the whole school to have straight A's. You know what I mean? Like I did all these things, and it was just like it was for nothing. And then I thought, well, man, if it's for nothing, I could just go play around, do whatever I want to do, spend my money. Like, for the first time in my life, I understood why so many people in the previous generation have felt like instead of leaving their wealth to their children, they're just going to spend it all up. I never understood that before. And so when you hear me say that in context of what he talks about in this book, what do you think about that? How do you respond that? How do you respond to moms out there who feel like your mom did, that it's really worth it? Or is it not worth it? Is it not worth it? Because if it's not, you can tell me, like you told me, stop sending you to all those science camps.
Well, I think especially in my generation, not everybody has their mind made up. There's lots of things that you would be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm kind of like that. It's hard to decide what path you really want to focus on. Like, I mean, I've said it since I was young, that I would like to be an engineer, mechanical engineer.
Yeah, you said you wanted to design race cars, engines. Yeah.
That's mechanical engineering, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of part of the same thing.
It's in there. Yep.
Like it's like, it's weird. We're a weird generation.
A weird generation. Explain. Come on, we need this.
Because, like, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Like I said earlier, it's
hard to word it without appearing disrespectful.
Yeah.
All right, tell you what. Say it in the way that it comes to you, and I'll tell you if there's a more respectful way to put it. How's that?
I can't really say it.
You get smacked? No, I didn't just say that.
Well, that comes into the next principle that I was literally about going to be next up.
Okay. Well, all right. So But seriously though, like what is that about this generation? Because every generation has their thing. Every generation has their thing, and I can keep talking if you want me
No,
to.
I don't really want to say it, because if I say it, then like, well, I'm gonna say it. Obviously, I'm gonna say it in like the next 10 seconds. I'm just gonna explain, because if I say this, then it's gonna be a wake up call to a bunch of people.
Oh,
that you probably should tone it down, gain more control of your kids and what they're doing. It's, yeah, I don't want to say it, but I mean, it has to be said.
well, how does somebody get control of a 17-year-old other than cutting off their phone, which I will do in a heartbeat?
Exactly. Like, it's that simple. You want them, take away the things that they consider super precious to them, or like, yeah, prove that you will actually do what you say you're going to do. Because a lot of these kids, they're like, well, you're not going to actually do it, so why do I have to listen to you, because you're not going to do it? That's what a lot of kids in this generation are like to their parents.
But how does that translate to having no future ambition or goals, though?
Because they spend all their time just playing video games and talking to girls or talking to guys, not spending time on Snapchat, social, TikTok, all this stuff. They're not even looking forward. They're not really care. They think that their parents are going to take care of them for the rest of their lives. That's how they act.
So what you're saying is, my mom was right when she told me all through high school, 18 and out the door.
No, I don't think that's a good mindset to have. But like,
that sends the wrong signal. As a child who received that totally sends the wrong signal. Right. Look, somebody's saying, "Come on now, Philip, lay it on us. Give us the wake up call."
They're just so spoiled. Like, I've gone to so many schools.
This is your 8th school?
This is my 8th school. Mm-hmm. And this is like the most, well, not the most.
Well, careful what you say.
Because
don't even. Yep. I know what school you're talking about. And actually, your 2nd grade school was just as entitled as the school you were about to say. Yeah, that was where I was so excited to get you in there, because all the diplomats kids. So I was stationed in the DC area. This is where all the diplomats kids and all the muckety muck people's kids went to, who went to a public school rather than a private school. And I was so excited to get him into that school. But I found out real quick we did not fit in.
Funny things, I didn't even know the teachers. I never knew the teacher's name the entire year.
but there is an entitlement, and I think some of that comes from having parents who had little, or who've just grown up with their parents doing for them, or like in my case, we didn't have that, and so it's a natural extension to want to do and give to you all everything. Mm-hmm. All right, but at some point, you all have to stand up on your own 2 feet, and learn how to live life on your own and be your own person.
And I just think that lots of teenagers just aren't prepared for that whenever they have to stand on their own 2 feet, because all they're doing is they're staying in their room. Okay, whenever I'm in my room, I'm not just on my phone going through Snapchat. I'm actually doing stuff. But
Snapchat and Insta.
I don't even use Instagram that much. If I was using Instagram, I'd have over 1,000 followers. Come on now. But
you follow him at Wiggy D, Wiggy_D.
But I'm just saying, most of these kids are just in their room with the lights off all day. And like this entire Christmas break, I can name at least 50 kids who are going to be just sitting in their room, like with the lights off the entirety of this 2 weeks for Christmas break. They're not going to do anything. They can do stuff if they want to, but their parents aren't going to force them to do anything, get out the house or do something. Like over the years, you've had me do a bunch of books and stuff like that, read books, get ready. I'm getting ready to go to college, go and get a career, do all this stuff. And these parents aren't like doing that for their kids, and it's just
well, to their defense, I think a lot of them don't think they really need to, because we were more grown as kids than our kids are now.
Oh yeah. And
when I was a kid, we traipsed all over Germany, and as long as we were back home on time, my parents didn't care where we were, they didn't worry about us. We knew how to take the trains. We knew how to go all over the place. Like, we knew how to take care of ourselves, even at that young age. I went to school with people who lived down, one guy lived down in Florida Keys, and he at 16 would take his boat, his wind boat, not even it's a sailboat, not even a powered boat, and go out to one of the islands, one of the surrounding islands, and be out there all day and come back. And that's something we just wouldn't allow a 16-year-old to do today. We'd hardly let them out of our sight. So the world is different, and it's important for us as kids, I mean, as parents, to give our kids that avenue that they can tell us this stuff. So maybe not live on Facebook, but give some things. But that's a pretty strong, that's a pretty strong statement that parents need to do more, because that's what I'm hearing.
Well, it's not do more, it's, I don't want to say that because that sounds weird, but be in more control, like, of what they're doing and how they're spending their time.
Is it more control or is it more involvement?
And that's it. Yeah, that's the word.
Because I know you
Because
you are like your mother. You do not like people to control you.
It wasn't the word I was looking for. I said it wasn't the word. I just didn't. I couldn't think of another word. Yeah, involvement.
To be more involved.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been excellent. So again, if you have any questions or comments at all for Brother Philip or myself, or if you have an opinion on this, we would love to get your perspective. For those of you who are just joining us, or you're watching it after the fact on YouTube or Facebook, LinkedIn, or any of our other Facebook channels that we're broadcasting to, or if you're listening later as part of the Building Wealth Together podcast, we are reviewing Robert Cooper's book, A Young Man's Crime. We're having a very real conversation about life based on the principles in this book.